Hi, I'm Mary Brody, and I'm the author of Revenue or Relationships Win Both. People do business with a company's employees. My favorite graphic that captures this is a poster at the Dallas Entrepreneur Center that says, "Business is socializing with purpose." And what is socializing? But having conversations. And what is the end product of conversations? Relationship building. That is why I see relationships as being the key outcome of a business. Revenue is the monetization of business relationships, and it is the most commonly measured indicator of business success. However, engagement, loyalty, accountability, and brand connection also measure the success of a business's relationships. Business is about people, and somehow we forgot about that along the way and stayed focused mainly on lead generation and revenue growth. But if we don't build our relationships with customers and stakeholders in all these other ways, how will we achieve that revenue growth? It's all related. If we research our customers and get to know them so that we can go beyond feeling empathy for them to solve their problems with compassion, we can do a lot to help them. It's that act of helping them and showing them how your company can not only contribute to their lives, but add true value that generates revenue. Good business is about engaging with people to improve their lives and the world. What I enjoy most about my work is doing research to understand people's motives for doing what they do, their problems, how they prioritize their problems, and then helping companies identify the best approach for their customers to solve their problems. And this is persona research, and I just love it. And if you want to automate processes and communications with an audience successfully, such research is required. Now, empathy and compassion for your customers is necessary before you can build trust with them. There are many videos, blog posts, and chapters in my book where I discuss this. But before anyone can start doing this work, you need to take a step back to understand how feelings and emotions work and why understanding them are central to decision making and ultimately business. Understanding this will reframe customer actions and decisions and provide you with new insights about the urgency of their problems and their needs for solutions. It will help you understand why prospects and customers often won't tell you what they really want or need and why they may act as they do. This will also help you discover what may motivate them to take action and put solving some problems rather than others at the top of their priority list. This work starts in neuroscience with the work of people like Dr. Anthony Damasio and Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, and psychologists like Dr. Srini Pillay and Dr. Viktor Frankl. All of these doctors have a similar perspective. People make decisions and live as they do in order to survive as they understand what survival means. Even making meaning in their lives helps them survive in some way. It all starts with biology. A cell needs to regulate itself to survive. And as organisms become multicelled and grow, they need a way to manage the collection of cells. So when you get into the range of millions of cells in an organism, nervous systems and brains emerge to accomplish this. And this is true for all animals. Brains are the central place to accept and interpret all cell inputs, to regulate them, and ultimately regulate the organism. I'm greatly oversimplifying here, but this helps you get the picture. So Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett says that the main function of a brain is not to think, but to process the inputs of all these cells and figure out what's happening with them to better regulate you, the organism, to ensure your survival. So if you're hungry, your nervous system tells you to eat. You get a feeling, which is in this case hunger, and you may interpret that hunger to be an emotion, like anger, or sadness, or happiness and joy because you're looking forward to a treat that you may be craving. Your body needs nourishment, so it sends a request for a specific food. It could be sugar, something cold and light, or the comforting feeling of squishy hot food like oatmeal or noodles. Basically, your brain signals you to do whatever it takes to get you to eat and feed your cells what they need. Feelings are driven by your body, mainly your cells, your biology. Your body is driving these impulses and these desires. But what happens when events happen outside of your body, in the world around you, that can impact your survival? Well, your body has a plan for that too. Now, as you know, your five senses inform your brain about what's happening outside of your body so you can better understand your surroundings. You can see, touch, hear, smell, or taste things around you to determine if there's a threat or maybe a treat nearby your location happening within a limited or extended time frame. This information goes to the brain to be interpreted along with what's happening inside your body to get a complete picture of what's happening to all of you. You may have thoughts and considerations about your outside circumstances to make a judgment or predict some actions to take for survival or reward, depending on what you're experiencing. And you can then interpret such inputs and thoughts appropriately based on past experiences or knowledge that you've gained along the way, creating predictions and expectations. And this is why we have hormones. They're released to adjust our bodies to accommodate not just what's happening inside of us, but prepare our bodies to respond to outside events. Now, again, I'm greatly oversimplifying, but hormones like dopamine, cortisol, and adrenaline support transmissions and responses inside your body. Dopamine supports pleasure, cortisol and adrenaline supports that flight or fight response, and such hormones are released when you anticipate something happening so your body can be ready. If you can smell or see cookies, you may get the dopamine pleasure hormones released into your system in anticipating eating them. If you see a tiger in the distance, you may get an adrenaline jolt so you can be ready to run if the tiger pounces towards you. If you have a lot of worry regarding work, you may get a release of too much cortisol, and that could cause problems in your body, but that quick jolt will help you keep working. Hormones respond to needs your brain discovers through your senses. Those needs become feelings and thoughts that translate into emotions that inform your body how to survive. Now, again, feelings from your body get processed in your brain and are translated into emotions. And your feelings and emotions guide not just cell regulation, but your decisions so you can literally stay alive. So am I saying that your body guides your mind? In a way, yes, I am. Dr. Antonio Damasio, a researcher and neuroscientist, discovered that people need feelings and therefore emotions to make decisions. So in his famous case, Elliot had a problem. And although he was a former successful stockbroker, Elliot had a tragic frontal lobe tumor. And after the tumor was removed, he couldn't hold on to his job, he lost his marriage, he made some disastrous life and business decisions, and he just turned his life into a big tragic mess. And after a few sessions, Damasio realized that Elliot's problem wasn't his intellect, but how he was or actually wasn't processing his feelings. So in one set of tests, the researchers showed Elliot photos of situations that would cause most people distress or great joy, but he showed no response. Then Damasio would hear his life story and realize that Elliot expressed no emotion about that either. So Damasio made the connection between decisions and emotions when he noticed that Elliot could brainstorm a number of ideas, but he just couldn't make a decision. I began to think that the cold-bloodedness of Elliot's reasoning prevented him from assigning different values to different options, Damasio wrote. It made his decision-making landscape hopelessly flat. Now, after some research, Damasio realized that Elliot's problem was more closely related to feelings and emotions rather than rational logic. We all have these somatic markers or feelings to help us filter options and provide a shortcut for decision making. So these markers are based on memories of past experiences. So if you've had a lot of life experiences, you'll get a lot of feelings about people, situations, and circumstances, and this will help you make a better decision. So the physical memories will guide you so that you feel good about what you choose. An aspect of the experience, anything from a smell or similar action or experiencing a person with a similar personality, could spark such a memory. So let's say you have a good friend and you feel good around that person. So let's say you meet someone similar to that person. So your body remembers these feelings with your friend. And that's what this intuition thing is, right? Your body's talking to you through its feelings, which becomes emotions. Now, sadly, Elliot didn't have anything like a somatic marker available to use. So somehow those were missing. He became overwhelmed by the options available before him at any time, and therefore, he didn't make any choices. Now, Damasio's theories validate the paradox of choice that has been outlined by Dr. Barry Schwartz. It's hard to make a decision when you're overwhelmed with many valid, available options. But Damasio takes this one step further, claiming that the desire to feel good and feelings related to memories guide your decisions. So to sum it up, the number of options available to choose from is only one factor that influences decision making. The other factor that simplifies the decision-making process comes from these somatic markers or feelings, and these help guide you to make a decision to talk to someone or not. Now, from another perspective, Damasio's explanation sounds alarmingly similar to the definition of intuition. When I first learned about Damasio's perspective, I shared it with a friend who was a strong believer in intuition, and needless to say, I ruined her perspective of spiritual experiences by reducing it to biology and somatic markers based on memories of past experiences rather than spiritual meaning. But I found Damasio's theory refreshing and almost relieved that we rely so much on feelings and emotions and personal histories to make our decisions. Now, not only do we want to survive, but we want to feel good doing it, and feeling good supports our survival. We find ways to support feeling good through facts, logic, and finding agreement with others regarding our views. We can also use these somatic markers. Now, by creating feelings in our customer experiences, we can tap into people's somatic markers and memories to help them associate a past feeling with a solution. If we keep the feelings pleasant, then these experiences will be associated with pleasant thoughts. And who doesn't want to constantly feel good all the time? If you combine this exercise with self-interest and support people's self-perceptions, then you can better understand what is driving your customers, your partners, and even your employees emotionally. When it comes to self-interest and supporting self-perception, consider what customers and prospects are getting out of customer experiences and those interactions beyond an object or information. The reward could be them validating a perspective of themselves, which makes them feel good. That's why some people choose to read certain magazines. They may genuinely like the articles, or owning the magazine may reinforce a worldview that makes them feel comfortable. It could be that the product triggers feelings associated with a past memory that's comforting. What do these people see as a reward for purchasing beyond your product? What is truly in it for them? Their ego, their selves. That's the self-interest. That's what you need to understand to connect with your customers. And that's what you need to consider for each stakeholder in your company too. Now, when it comes to motivations and decisions in business, feelings and emotions can take center stage. Rather than simply analyzing facts, people may use facts to support emotions and their personal motivations around their decisions. And in the end, people decide which action to take based on what will make them feel good about themselves and what will support their self-image. They consider how their decision validates their identity and how they perceive this decision will change or not change their lives. This decision connects to life meaning, community, and connection. This is also why it follows that making meaning in life, as Dr. Viktor Frankl described it through logotherapy, is key to our existence and survival. Existentialism leads to extreme individualism and nihilism, which both leads to human destruction. We know that humans require community to access food, shelter, clothing, and opportunities to reproduce in order to survive. And individuals alone stand a smaller chance of survival compared to the group. So to be in a group, we naturally create language, and culture to connect with others and create that belonging. And religion emerges to help us believe that there's more to life than what we see, which helps us survive and create greater connection with each other. We mask our biological realities and that we're literally machines that eat, excrete, and reproduce, which may cause us depression because it is such an isolating way to see the world. Religion helps us be part of a bigger story. It's why those of us who reject meaning and embrace beliefs like nihilism or the belief in nothing are often driven to addiction and suicide. Meaning is that vital for our survival in adversity, which can often be found just living in daily life. So, how does this all relate to a company's vision and customer experience? Well, employees and customers need meaning to be happy and productive. They need to understand how their work will contribute value to the company, to society, and to the history of the world. A vision helps us achieve this by helping us understand what we are part of and what we are working towards, allowing us to strive to be better people. Now, if your brand can provide such meaning to your customers, a vision, a bigger story, then you can connect with your customers emotionally. Your customers don't just want to buy a widget from you. They want to be part of what you're creating in the world, part of how your company is making a difference. This is why a brand can create community. It provides that level of meaning. Dr. Srini Pillay has said that we need to see change as essential to our lives, or we simply won't do it. This is in line with survival driving our existence. You have to have that feeling of desperation to make a change so you can have hope for the future. What you're doing today is more than not working if you seek change. If anything, it's hurting you. This decision to change is to help you to survive in the best way possible. Now, I'm not going to get into how the desire to change and emotions, feeling, and meaning interact with dysfunction and meditation to help people survive, because that's a whole separate discussion, but it does apply. Dysfunctions are a way to cope with the physical, emotional, and mental violence and its resulting trauma so you can survive. Meditation rests your body so you can properly listen to it and reset, or rather recalibrate your feelings and emotions and change who you are. This is also an approach to help you survive. To sum it up, biology manages each of us. There is no such thing as a factual decision or intuitive knowledge or anything like that. All decisions are based on what will first allow us to survive according to how we define survival. And as we discussed, we use facts to validate our feelings and create a picture of reality. And our priorities are based on what we think will give our lives more meaning, fulfillment, and just better survival. So when you decide to buy a product, that is based on your biological feelings interpreted in your brain that become emotions. A decision is based on familiarity, which is why often new ideas are rejected in market, and facts fill in the blanks to provide reason to your decisions, your outlook, and your emotions. Your customers generally don't care that you have the best product that won awards. That award helps them validate their decision, but it's not the core driver of why they chose to work with your company or to buy your products. They care more that you help them identify their true needs, solve their problems, and address their motivations so that they continue to survive and live well. They can continue to have a positive view of themselves, which helps them have high self-esteem and, again, survive. Feeling that their life is meaningful and successful will help them live a better, happier life. When people's logic doesn't make sense, this is why. We don't make decisions or define our lives based on logic or facts. We manage our lives in a way to survive and thrive that makes sense for us in our biological programming. Use this thinking when understanding the problem that people need to have solved and understand how they view their problems and potential solutions. You can also use this with other tools to build empathy and compassion with them so you can better understand people's motivations for the decisions they make and better understand why they do what they do. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much and have a great day.